What's up, Shelf Addicts? Welcome back to the Shelf Addiction Podcast. Today on Book Chat, we are continuing the Mercy Thompson series with its latest installment, Book 13, Soul Taken. Stay tuned. Today's episode is sponsored in part by audiobooks.com. Audiobooks.com now has 175,000 titles and 1.2 million podcasts. New customers get 3 free audiobooks comprised of 1 premium credit and 2 VIP titles. Use our promo code SHELFADDICTION, spelled as one word, when you sign up at audiobooks.com. Again, our promo code is SHELFADDICTION. Hey everyone, I am your host, Tamara, and welcome back to the podcast. If you're new here, we're going to feed your shelf addiction with fun book conversations, bookish topics, and more. It's like listening in on your favorite book club. Participate in this discussion by joining the Facebook group Shelf Addiction Official or over on the Book Clubs app. I hope to hear your thoughts on today's show. You can also find me and Casey on Twitter and Instagram. The links for everything I've mentioned are below in the show notes. If you enjoyed today's episode, please support the podcast by sharing it with some book nerd friends or on your favorite social media space. And don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe before you leave. That will really help me out, and I appreciate you for doing it. The uncut video version of this podcast is available right now over on Patreon. Join us there for exclusive videos, including after shows and more. So if you're interested in that at all, you'll need to come over onto Patreon and sign up. As always with Book Chats, we talk spoilers here, so you've been warned. Without further ado, let's begin. We've got a lot to talk about today, so we are going to get right to it. Joining me is feature co-host Casey from Heartful of Ink. Welcome back, Casey.
Hello. I'm so excited to be here again.
Yay, I'm happy you're here because we are talking about Mercy Thompson series. Woo! I love it. Woo! Yes, and so you guys, if you've been following along on the podcast, we've been doing a reread, but today we are talking about the 13th book in series. So this is brand new to us. It is not a reread.
No.
Our first time. So
it came out like 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, it's still pretty new. It's a gorgeous book. If you're on Patreon, you can see the cover. It's a lovely book cover. Of course, the artist does an amazing job on her stuff.
Always.
Yeah. All right, so we're just going to jump right into it. So obviously, you already know, full spoiler. So since this is the new book, if you haven't read it, please be careful. Spoiler alert. So we're talking about Soul Taken, the 13th book, published August 23rd, 2022 by Ace and Penguin Audio. The paperback is hardcover is 388 pages, and the audiobook is 10 hours and 33 minutes, narrated by Lorelei King. Casey, would you please read the synopsis?
Yes. Mercy Thompson, car mechanic and shapeshifter, must face her greatest fears in this chilling entry in the #1 New York Times best-selling series. The vampire wolf is missing. Since he's deadly, possibly insane, and his current idea of fun is stalking me, some may see it as no great loss. But having been warned that his disappearance might bring down the carefully constructed alliances that keep our pack safe, my mate and I must find Wolf and hope he's still alive. As alive as a vampire can be, anyway. But Wolf isn't the only one who has disappeared. Now, there are bodies too. Has the Harvester returned to the Tri-Cities, reaping souls with his cursed sickle? Or is he just a character from a B horror movie and our enemy is someone else? The farther I follow Wolf's trail, the more twisted and darker the path becomes. I need to figure out what's going on before the next body hits on the ground is mine.
All right. You guys, I have to turn my fan off. It's hot. All right. So, as we do, high level, what did you think when you finished the book?
I love it because it's Mercy. I have some criticisms, but, overall, high level, I was very happy with this installment. I love Mercy. I love how she's grown over the years. Jumping from book 4 to book 13 was a little jarring, but I'm still happy with it.
Okay. So for me, I too enjoyed it. I also liked the story overall. I really had a good time with, I guess, where Mercy and Adam are in their relationship.
Mm-hmm.
I loved that. So I think that carried me through. I was like looking forward to their parts every time.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like you, I also have some criticisms. And it was interesting not to, for once, fawn all over it. I didn't have that reaction this time, but I did enjoy it immensely, as I always do.
Yes. And I think that's how a lot of the readers are reacting right now, from what I'm seeing. I was trying to avoid all spoilers before reading it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, there's just something slightly off about this book.
Yes. And we should note, like, this book is late. It's late.
Mm-hmm.
The author had to take a break. She had to deal with stuff, and then she turned this book in late. So I don't know if that has anything to do with how this book is. I don't have no idea, but it's different. The vibe is, it's just different, right? Mm-hmm. Not like where it's off the charts, like, what book is this? What series is this? It's not that way, in that way. But
it was authentically Mercy, but it was also like a little darker, but like it was...
It's just a little off. I don't know how to word it exactly.
Yeah. Because it wasn't necessarily scarier. No. It wasn't more violent. Like, we've seen some violent stuff. The bad guy wasn't that bad.
The worst thing was...
We got some really interesting backstory.
Yeah, we got a lot of backstory. I think, actually... So there were really two bad things. There was, like, obviously, the vampire... What's his name? Barada? What do you say? How do you say it?
Barra.
I don't know. The guy who Marcelia ran away from, the head vampire dude. And I think the
Bonatarta? I don't know. I'm absolutely mispronouncing that. It's some Italian.
I feel like the audiobook narrator says like burrata or something, but I'm like, isn't that like a salad with tomato and basil and mozzarella? I don't know. But, yeah, I can't pronounce it either. But also, this weapon, this Fey artifact, this artifact is actually, I think, a villain, too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's the sentient being that just wants blood and souls and to kill and kill and kill. And it can kind of mind control people.
No kind of about it. They do. I mean, the only thing that Wolf had going for him, and same as Adam, is that they're so powerful to begin with. Any weaker person would have just been taken over by this thing. So I think there was only one thing that made me like, I like when I react audibly to the book and stuff, and only one thing in this book made me go, oh my God, what are you doing? And that is when Adam reached out and picked up.
I know. I thought Adam was smarter than that.
What are you doing? Don't touch it. It had this conversation. But, I'm like, well, he snatched it out of his hand. He snatched it out of the vampire's hand.
But the vampire wanted that. He wanted it to take over Adam and take over the pack. And destroy everything. Like that, Adam was playing into his hand.
I'm like, you sucker. What happened? And I mean, honestly, Mercy always be doing some dumb stuff sometimes. I was waiting on her to grab it. She was eyeballing it like, I could just grab it. I could just get it. And she's like, oh, and then, the vampire guy got it. And then Adam yanked it from him.
And Adam snatched it.
Oh, everyone drop it. Just drop it. That was the funniest.
I fully expected Mercy to like call Tilly in that moment. Be like, here, come grab it. Just take it.
I know.
I'm glad she didn't, though. She was much smarter than I was.
I started to question, because, guys, there was this part in this book where, Z tells Mercy, bring me this, what is this thing called? A scythe? Scythe.
There was a whole debate about the word choice of scythe versus sickle.
Yeah.
And
but this looks like
the nerd and me loved it. I loved the debate.
Because the scythe has the round thing, right? It's rounded. A sickle is straight, right? Or is it reversed?
I just forgot words.
Okay, let me try to find it. I feel like because it was this whole thing, Tad and Z both had a whole conversation about what it should be called. Because I guess they had a movie. In the book, there was a movie about this. I guess it's a person in the movie, right? It's a character. And he carried this weapon. And they were saying it was a scythe, but they said, no, it's a sickle.
Yeah, the sickle's the smaller one. The larger, taller, straighter scythe is what, like, death carries.
Okay. So this one
this is the sickle.
Okay.
Yeah.
Laura, here we go. See? Tad would be looking at us like, So, what was I saying about the sickle? I don't even know. I lost my track. Well, lost my path. What was I saying, Casey? I don't know.
I don't remember. I just had to Google words. I don't know. I must be tired. I must be losing my brain today.
We're all tired. I'm tired. But I have a legitimate reason, you guys. So, it's still hot outside and my air went out yesterday, so I didn't sleep well. I've been sweating all day.
Oh, that's so awful.
Yeah.
I have no excuse. I have no excuse. I just don't have a brain.
Oh, no. You have a brain. It's in there.
Somewhere. It's hiding right now.
So, sickle. The sickle is the other bad guy, and the thing's just wild. It just takes people over. So, let's go back to the beginning. So, the beginning, we start where Marsilia just kind of shows up. Well, no, let's go back. I was about
to say, the beginning is Mercy getting hit in the head with a pumpkin.
Yes, which is hilarious. They're out there, like, playing a game, and who hits her? Was it Ben, of all people?
It was Ben.
Hits her.
Ben admitted
it. He hit her in the head with a pumpkin, and she got walloped. Like, she got hit hard.
Because they were playing their werewolf version of baseball, but with gourds and pumpkins, and so he hit the thing and it flew and hit Mercy in the head, knocking her out and almost giving her a concussion.
I mean, he hit her in just the spot where who was that said people have died or gonna get hit, like right in this.
I think Mary Jo may have, like, or Adam even.
It was like right in this sensitive spot. I guess she has a hard head because she survived. But he actually admits to it because I think everyone thought she was mad about that, right? So he kind of just saunters over to her at their little group dinner. And he's like, yeah, it was me. And they're playing off of his, like, accent, his British accent.
As they always do.
Yeah, it was kind of funny. I'm like, oh my gosh. But the most interesting thing to me, so after the game, they go have dinner, and it is revealed that Sherwood. Remember Sherwood, you guys?
I remember Sherwood.
We haven't seen him in the first 4 books, but I remember when he comes. He's the guy. He's the wolf that has no memory, and Bran sent him there.
And he's missing a leg.
He has a cat. That's fun. Entertainment value. So he remembers who he is. He remembers. And I'm like, oh, shit. And it comes out that he is very, very dominant. More dominant than Adam. Well,
because
it's a question. The question is, I don't think it was clear if he is more dominant than Adam. He said he would not fight him because he's not 100% sure he would win.
Well, that's just saying that Adam is also really strong because right now Adam is technically the 4th strongest alpha in North America. And Sherwood, spoiler alert, everybody, is actually Bran's older brother.
Yeah.
So he's really old, really powerful. He is more dominant than Adam, but he doesn't necessarily want to take over the pack. And he admits at the end of the book that he would not be as good an alpha as Mercy and Adam are because they are the alpha pair.
Yeah, he was saying normally, because of course Mercy has to correct him. That's not how it works. And he's like, normally, no, that's not how it works. But the magic in this pack, because you, Coyote, weird stuff, because you guys are together, you guys are one. So the pair of you as one is a better alpha than me. And he admits it. Yes. He knows that. So he's like, yeah,
and
I'm
his
fine.
wolf is willing to, stand down because if he tries to overtake Adam, it will ruin the pack. And the pack is kind of at war with the rest of the world and yada, yada, yada. So
honestly, and I'm not sure he would win because they're one and we know how Mercy is, she would never just let Adams get his ass beat. She would jump in and she has her handy stick and other things at her disposal. And she wouldn't want to kill Bran's brother, but she would to save Adam. She would.
Also, Adam has this second werewolf beast inside of him, thanks to the curse from the witches from another previous book.
Yes.
And I think that would pop out and try to protect Adam.
Oh, yeah.
And that may or may not be stronger than Sherwood.
And that thing is like a real beast. Like, he's not all the way in wolf form. He's not all the way in human form. He's some type of hybrid, scary-looking thing you imagine when you think of werewolves in movies, right? Mm-hmm. So his legs might be looking weird, but he's upright.
Yes.
He can't talk because his mouth is full of teeth, but he's scary in that way.
He's very scary and very violent and ready to kill everybody. Mm-hmm. Adam himself is kind of scared of this monster and doesn't want Mercy to see it or be around it because I don't know. I feel like Mercy could take it on. I don't think that beast really wants to kill Mercy.
Doesn't. I feel like there's something in there. Although I do think that beast fights dirty, right? Which is why Adam would win.
Oh, yeah.
If he was in that form, he would win.
Oh, yeah.
But
he would win.
I don't think anything in him would hurt her. So, I mean, even, what's the old vampire? I'll just call him Vampire B because I don't know how to pronounce his name. Even he said, had, this sickle had, taken you, or whatever, you still wouldn't have killed Adam, or he wouldn't have killed you the other way around. He wouldn't have killed you because it's something about you two. Again, it's something about you two that
they just have that special bond.
He would have killed the whole town, right? But he wouldn't have killed you.
Yes. And that was part of his evil plan was to have Adam destroy everyone else except Mercy because this vampire wants Mercy to suffer because, again, in one of the previous books, she bested him. And so now he's like, got to take it out on her over and over and over again. And that's his big bad plan, is just to keep calling her and harassing her.
Bonarata. That's it. I got it. Bonarata. Okay. Yeah. So he's had this long plan. It's like a long running plan again, where he's like,
again and again and again.
He's been calling her and hanging up. He's a crackhead. Like, what is he doing? Like, he is doing the absolute most. And then he steals, or, he has Wolf, thinking he's going to do some damage, but just enough to pull her in, right? Just enough.
Yes. So, I don't know. One of the things I really liked about this book was all of the callbacks to the old books. Because we just finished reading Bloodbound, there were so many little details that were more fresh in my mind, I guess. Like the ghost Daniel. Daniel died in Bloodbound, and I don't really remember his ghost showing up again any other time. But he was here. He showed up. And then there were a couple other references to Bloodbound. There were references to all the other books with the witches, obviously, and when Mercy was kidnapped and taken to Italy, and her fight with the vampires over there. Like, there was so much. And I just really appreciated that. Like, this didn't feel like Patricia Briggs didn't have any new ideas. It felt like it was part of this longer story with all of these details still tying together, still absolutely necessary for this to happen. And, Monotara leaves at the end. Mercy lets him go because she's trying to save Adam from the sickle. And he gets in his helicopter and he leaves after he promises her death and destruction forever. So it felt like a chapter in Mercy's story. And it felt like there is definitely more to come. And I'm not mad about that.
Yeah. Because, honestly, how it was left, he took off while Adam was in the throes of fighting it, right? He did not know that Adam had dropped the thing and had gotten free of it. He has
no idea.
But as of now, he does not know. So he thinks he's leaving them in a wake of chaos as he skips off chuckling, thinking that he's going to be able to harass her for as long as she lives. And he's wrong.
He's very wrong. Yeah. No, I'm sure he'll find out as soon as Adam does the press conference. But, it's whatever. He'll be back. And I'm not mad about that.
No. So the whole thing, I think what was murky to me was how this story got its legs off the ground. So I'm like, okay, so Stefan was taken. He was taken along with all the seeds, all the, they took all the vampires. And,
Marsilia, Stefan, Wolf,
So they've been gone. And then, of course, Marsilia does show up, though, to say, you've got to find Wolf. Or if you don't, you're going to be blamed for everything that's happening. It's going to be your fault, And so they're like, what's happening? They're confused. They don't understand. So after they finish their little showdown with Sherwood, they all go off and they're like, well, let's go to Stefan, let's call him. So he doesn't answer. Then they go over his house and they're like, oh, something's wrong.
Yep. His house is empty. None of his people are around. The ghost Daniel's here.
Yeah.
But there's also some weird fae creature hiding in here.
It's strange. I'm like, okay, so I didn't really understand the fae creature that well either. I'm like, I was just reading, trying to just go along with the story. But I'm like, what does this fae creature have to do with anything? Even now thinking back.
They were technically the protectors of the sickle. There was some story about how it went to these spider fae creatures many centuries ago, and they all wiped themselves out except for two remaining half-breed spider fae things, and then they just kind of continued on. And they can kind of control it, or it can't control them. There was something about how they were the only ones it couldn't mind control.
Okay. Because I know these things Mercy, of course, gets entangled with this thing and she has to go have, Z remove.
Oh God, that was so creepy.
Oh my gosh. So there's spider eggs or some mess going on in her hands.
In her coyote form.
Yeah.
So on all 4 feet, she jumps on this spider thing and those little prickly hair things break off into her feet. And then she keeps forgetting about it. And Adam's like, you said we have to go see V about your feet. And she's like, what? No, we don't. I don't want to go. And they have to pin her down.
But she's in pain. She can't even really walk right because her feet hurt. That was a point of thing. He's like, take some aspirin. She's like, I didn't take aspirin, but whatever. But her feet hurt. We got to go get this taken care of. And even C says, you should have came sooner. It wouldn't have been as bad.
And she's still like, no, don't look at them. Don't hold my foot. It's fine. It's fine.
You want little spiders coming out of your face spiders coming out of your body? You want
Nope.
So they had that, and there's so after, I don't even know what they did next. What did they do next after the spiders?
They went to go look at the dead bodies.
Oh, that's right.
Because they found out that somebody was going around slashing bodies, and so there was the part fae guy in the grocery store. There was the witch. They went to the coroner's office and we got a scene from Adam's point of view. which I appreciated. I didn't think it was strictly necessary, but it was good to like be in his head and just see how he was doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's when he left Mercy in the car and he didn't want to leave her in the car, and he went in and then came back out and got her.
Yes.
I'm like, oh, even she's like, leave me alone. I just want to sit here. Like, okay, girl. But yeah, there was a lot going on. Like,
it was a little slow. We've had some very action-packed books. This one was not one of them, but there was a lot of layers to it.
Yeah.
It was like, it was a good story. I just don't know.
It was a good story. I think fans of the book, you know, if you're reading book 13, you're clearly a fan of the book, of the series. Yeah. So I think for what it's worth, you'll definitely get some good stuff out of it. There's a lot of revelations that are important and interesting. But just from like entertainment value, it's definitely on the... If I were rating the books, this would probably be on the lower end of the scale.
I feel like I'd put this one like around the middle point. Like, it's not one of the top favorites, but it's not one of the worst ones. I feel like there have been worse.
Yeah, this wasn't the worst, but it's like if I have 13 and there's a scale, I feel like it would be closer to the bottom than the top.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know? Because it's like uneven. So 13 is uneven. So there's no real center, right?
Yeah.
So that's just me. That's my 2 cents. So actually, this is a good time to take a break, and we can figure out what else we want to say about this book. We'll take a break. We will check out the commercials. And while you're doing that, please feel free to hop on over to Amazon and take a look at the book review journal and notebook. They're available for you. Cute. They are cute. I love them personally.
They're so cute. Yes, I love using mine.
Yeah, I use mine a lot too. So yeah, come right back and we'll continue. Stay with us. Today's episode is brought to you by the Shelf Addiction merch store. Check out all the bookish t-shirts, notebooks, mugs, and more. Don't miss out on these original designs, perfect for any book nerd. Support the podcast and visit shelfaddiction.com/merch and pick up your next favorite bookish item. Welcome back, guys. We've sorted out what we're going to talk about a little bit.
Yes.
Because it's funny. Go ahead, Casey.
I was going to say, so one of the things that really annoyed me throughout this book, or it annoyed me at the end of the book. Warren has been Mercy's best friend since long before she really had anything to do with Adam. Mercy was the one who took Warren to Adam, you know, many, many years before the start of Moon Called. They are closer than close. And something is bothering Warren. We don't know what it is yet, but he has something up his butt. He is angry all the time. He's sniping at people. Mercy asks to help him and he yells at her.
Oh my God. I'm like, he curses at her and everything. He's like,
I know.
Like, keep your nosy self to yourself.
Yeah, he called her like a Miss Know-It-All nosy person. Like, he got so angry with Mercy, and she tortured him by checking every single book on like 18 bookshelves in Marcelia's house until he calmed down.
Yeah.
But anyway, we get to the end of the book, and it turns out that Kyle had bought Warren a new car, but it's a fancy technology new car, and it just beeps at him constantly. And it is annoying him, and that's his whole problem.
Mm-hmm. Which was dumb.
I was just like, what?
Yeah.
Excuse me, what? This car made you curse at Mercy?
This car had you almost getting in a fight with Daryl? Like, in the car, on the
multiple
ride over?
Times.
Right,
like for the past a week, or however long it's been, like, he's just been an asshole to everybody. He was about to take on Daryl, even though he doesn't want to be number 2. He's happy as number 3.
So I guess the one, caveat about the car is, so apparently, according to Z, because, finally he does ask Mercy to look at the car, and then Mercy in turn asks Z, and he finds that there may have been some magic at play trying to protect him, right? So, like, Kyle bought this car with the intent of protecting him, and supposedly he thought about that all the way home with so much, force and love that, because he's in a magical household and he's around magic people, I guess the car just kind of listened and said, I'm going to be protective to the moon and back and annoy the hell out of you with every single ding and warning I can possibly give all the time.
Yes, that's exactly what that car was doing. It would ding. It would be like, we're low on lighter fluid. Let me ding 3 times. Now let me text you. Now let me email you. Now let me email Kyle, too, just because I'm a smart car and I can email everybody.
Yeah. And actually, it's funny because, side note, when Mercy was explaining what was happening in that car, I'm like, is this a Tesla? You sure it's not a fucking Tesla? Because my car, I'm not playing. I had to turn down the sensitivity. It would be warning me of people or things that I may be close to. I'm like, that thing is far away. Why are you making noise? Stop dinging. What is that? What is that noise? So I had to turn down. So I kind of got a glimpse of what this was I had to just think times 100 probably. It was probably going off incessantly every time he was in the car. But I'm like, so I get how that could be uber annoying, right? I understand that, but you have one of your best friends as a mechanic. Why didn't you just take it to her?
Instantly.
Right.
Like, as soon as it starts dinging, yes, he said he read the manual and he tried turning it off. It didn't work, obviously. Mercy tried that too. Didn't work for her. But he could have just taken it to Mercy instantly. Like, it felt almost like a slap in the face to the reader. And it felt like a betrayal to Warren's character that it was just the car.
Yeah, it was a big
that was
fake
making
out.
him this. Yeah.
It was a big fake out.
I was preparing for the worst. I thought like Kyle was going to leave him and, go be with Zach, who is living with them as a roommate or something.
Or maybe Kyle was pressing him to adopt a kid or something crazy.
Or something. Yeah.
Something extra.
Something huge. Something extra. Something just so mind-blowingly what the fuck that this feels like such a letdown. And this is probably my biggest issue with the whole book is like, no, Warren would not just yell at Mercy for no reason. And yes, cars can annoy the shit out of you, but this feels like not a reason to yell at Mercy.
Yeah, it's so minor. Like, in the scheme of things, like how their lives are, they even had this conversation early on. Like, what now? Like, what world-ending thing is happening now? Like, this is our new reality. Let's even make plans for this now. With all of that going on in your pack, in your life, why is this car that big a deal? Like, it shouldn't be. It's like a bleep in comparison to the kind of things you deal with in this pack on a daily basis.
Exactly. It is not that big of a deal. And again, like, he could have gone to Mercy day 2 or day 3 instead of dealing with the car for 3 weeks and then calling Mercy at the last minute before he had to go tell Adam what was wrong.
He only did it because Adam gave him an ultimatum. He said, you got 2 days to get this stuff sorted out. You figure it out.
Or come talk to me.
Right.
Yeah. And like, no. It should not be this car. You should have gone to Mercy much sooner. And if not Mercy, then Z was right freaking there. Or Tad was right freaking there. They're all magical mechanics.
Honestly, Tad probably could have figured it out just like Z did, to be honest.
Probably faster than Mercy did, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, no. You... It
was stupid.
Anyway.
It was dumb.
Was stupid.
It's like, did we really need that additional story? We didn't. It didn't need to be in here.
I feel like it was necessary for that little bit of tension, especially when they were going through the house. But it felt like such a letdown that it was just the car. Like, I like that Warren was upset because, people aren't always
I get that.
Like that if there had been something really big bothering him.
I would have preferred it had been maybe Warren was detecting something off with Sherwood. Maybe
if it had been that.
It could have been anything but that. Mm-hmm. But I still feel like there could have been a way for Warren not to be happy. I don't know. I still feel like even that additional tension wasn't needed because they could have been doing the exact same thing, just being meticulous, not as a punishment, and the same thing could have happened.
Yes. So, I mean, yes, it could have gone down. I don't know. I'm not mad about the tension. I'm mad about the reason. Mm-hmm. I'm mad that it wasn't worth it. Because, Mercy's the one who does meddle in your love life. She does help you with stuff. She's the one who told Kyle about werewolves back in Mooncalled, and like she will put her nose in everything. But she is a mechanic. This is her job. Mm-hmm. If you have an issue with a car, she is the person you go to, no matter what.
Right.
Like even if you don't want her meddling with your love life, that's fair and valid. You don't have to tell her anything about your love life. Just be like, hey, my car is weird. Can you help me? Mm-hmm. Or go to Tad.
I know.
Tad's not Mercy.
Right.
And he's not his dad.
Exactly. So if you really didn't want Mercy in your business, go to Tad. He would have helped you with no problem. He would have helped you. But, again, and I know you want to be careful with Faye, even half Faye. You want to be careful asking for things. Mm-hmm. Which even came out, early on in the book, where we find out that Tad is dating Isabella, right?
Mm-hmm. Izzy, Jesse's best friend.
Yes, and we find out a little bit about things that gone down with Tad's daddy, like Z. Z. He funny, but he has rumors about him, and of course Jesse decides to just mouth vomit all the stuff and she freaks out like, hey, wait a minute,
because Izzy's pure human, 100% human.
Yes. And she's like, I thought I knew what I was getting into, but now I don't know if I do. I don't know. And poor Tad, he's like, well, let's go outside and talk about it. Like,
honestly, I feel like Tad and Izzy need to break up soon. Mm-hmm. And I feel like Tad and Jesse need to get together.
I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at it. It's a good idea.
I miss Gabriel, and he was a good boyfriend, but I think like he was the good first boyfriend, and now he's gone and off and having his own fun and his own girlfriends, and like, yeah, he was the good first boyfriend for Jesse, but now Jesse needs somebody a little more intense, a little more magical, a little more protective, because Tad is that protective, and he is protecting Jesse right now.
Under orders, though. He's doing
He was going to do it no matter what. Adam's just paying him for it now.
I just don't think she likes him like that, because I think she likes to pick at him like he's a brother. Although I wouldn't be mad if that changed. But right now, like the one scene where, Jesse tells Mercy, you take care of yourself, don't die, and take care of him, take care of my dad. And she says the same thing to her and refers to Tad. She's like, well, there's got to be some sacrifices. And then Tad's like, oh, what? Is this sacrifice to save me? Or what are you saying? I need to, she's like, get in the car, Tad. Like, get in the car. Like, it's like no conversation. She's like, I don't even know how long I could deal with you. I hope you guys get back together, because I don't know if I could deal with you on my own.
Jessie is such a Mercy. She has turned into Mercy. Mm-hmm. So yeah, no, I feel like that's why she and Tad will be better for each other, because she holds her own against Tad. She does not let him get away with shit. She does not, let him just protect her and roll over and accept it. She fights back tooth and nail.
Yeah.
And yeah, no, I think I like Izzy, but she's just the sweet little human girl who's way in over her head.
Jesse's human. Let's not forget. She's grown up in that life, right? Mm-hmm. Same as Mercy. She grew up in that life, but she doesn't even have Mercy's ability. Mercy has some tricks up her sleeve. She's just human, but
she is.
I don't know. I feel like, at first the author tried to make it seem like Jessie had matured a little, talking about her natural hair color. And I'm like, oh, she's got a car. But then like how she like talks to Tad and some of the stuff she does, I'm like, oh, she's still a child. She's in college. She's got a lot of 18. Growing to do. Still.
She does have a lot of growing to do. Absolutely. Yeah. Yes. Oh, yeah. But I mean, Mercy was exactly the same way. She was putting tricks on people. She was talking back to people. She still does that. They mentioned the blue hair dye incident. They mention quite a few other incidences.
Oh, no.
That Mercy has pulled.
Yeah, Mercy, I think, has graduated to a new level, though. Like, she's graduated.
Oh, she has.
But she will, like, curse you out. She will curse you out. Like how when Z had tossed a ring at Adam and he grabbed it or something. And then she's like, wash your hands right there. Clean your hands off. And then she turns around and see, like, if you ever throw something at my maid again, he's sitting there like, oh my God. And Adam is kind of chuckling like, hey, somebody else can get it besides me.
And he's like, yeah, Bran has that look too when Mercy yells at him.
Yeah, she was like, and she wouldn't let it go. She was like, hey, you don't do this, I won't do that. Okay? He's like, done and done. Okay, fine. I'm done. Yeah.
It was... Mercy's very protective of everybody she loves. And if you throw a cursed object or haunted object or whatever it was at somebody she loves, she will yell at you.
Yes, absolutely. He deserved that, though. I'm like, come on now. What are you doing? He doesn't think sometimes, I think. He's just old and, he just...
And they keep kind of mentioning that. So I feel like that's going to build up into a future plot line. That Z has been kind of collecting all of his old toys, all of his old objects, things that have lots of power. And somebody even mentioned in here, Mercy's only known Z for 10 years. And in that time, he's been this sweet old grumpy mechanic who, is kind of very helpful. He is very helpful. He does seem to be like a good guy now.
Right.
But he wasn't always good, and he did make a cup out of the skull of a child and force the king to drink from his child's skull, and he did a lot of bad things. And if he's collecting his old magical stuff, then he's kind of gathering his power. And there was a book where he and Tad were kidnapped, and they are still finding pieces of the kidnappers. And everybody is very, very scared of Z.
And
so I feel like that's going to grow into something. Yeah,
it will.
They should be.
And I think, even in this story, there was a time where Mercy was second guessing how well she knew Z, right? How much she could trust him. Like when Tilly offered up, hey, give me the sickle and I'll protect your family, or I'll do, she was wondering, like, well, who should I give this to? Should I give it to Z or give it to Tilly? So she was really questioning her friendship with him and how much she could trust him. That ties in with what you were saying, and I think that will be an issue later. So it was tied up nicely in this installment, though, because she made a bargain with him. I'll give you this if you promise to destroy it. Which it needed to be destroyed. Right. So instead of him holding it or storing it, he did do, because, they follow through with what the bargain is. So she rightfully smart, using her brain, decided to make a bargain instead of just giving it to him. But who knows? I don't think he'd actually ever outright turn on her. But I think there would be some room for misinterpretation of what he's doing.
Yes. Oh, yes, for sure.
Yeah.
Unless he is really, his old, true, evil self. Maybe he hasn't mellowed in age because, somebody else in here said 10 years is the blink of an eye for an ancient fae. And he is over 2,000 years old.
Yes. But he cares a lot about her.
He does.
You could tell, when he healed her, that wasn't a part of the original bargain. The original bargain was to just destroy it. And he says, you know what? It's not even. I'm going to make us even. So he heals her, right? So I do feel like even if he is his bad self, what if he is that way? I do feel like everyone has a line they won't cross. Everyone, even the worst people, have one person that they would not harm, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that might be Mercy for him.
Which is good. We need Mercy to humanize him.
Right. But that doesn't mean she won't have to stop him one day for doing something outrageous.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So, what could be next?
Theories.
Yeah, we know that Briggs loves to bring stuff back from books past, right? So it's totally possibility. It's a total possibility for us to go maybe one or two more books before anything actually happens,
or
with
more,
that. Or more. Yeah,
because she's usually pretty good about like alternating the different factions that we fight. So, we're just dealing with the vampires now, but the vampires are still a big threat. We just got over the witches, but there are still witches around that kind of there's some white witches who need help, but there's some gray witches, and I don't think there are any black witches nearby, but there could be. And
well, they killed them all for now. They killed,
and we're still dealing with the humans. The humans don't really trust werewolves anymore. So that could be a whole new big issue. And we've pulled in, Coyote. He showed up for a brief moment here and it's like, yeah, no, there are world eaters. We need to make sure they don't come back. And Mercy's like, well, I killed that river monster however many years ago that was.
God. And speaking of that, I'm like, why are you talking about that fucking river monster? Stay focused. Why are you talking about that right now? Don't you, hurry up. Why are you having this conversation? I'm like, what are you doing? I'm like, focus on the problem at hand. Why are you bringing up the past? This is like an
Focus
urgent
on one
situation.
thing at a time.
There's a fight going on, and you're in your head talking to your damn daddy. Okay, it felt slow-mo to me, but I'm sure it was much faster. But it felt slow-mo. I'm like, ugh.
It did kind of slow that moment down, but yeah. But anyway, she keeps shifting around things, so maybe we'll get to the Fae soon, but I feel like there's going to be more buildup with Z before we get to his turning point. And Stefan, he has been hurt and injured and tortured repeatedly over the past several books.
Yeah.
I mean, for most of the series, but I just want him to have peace and happiness, and we finally got some insight into his history because Mercy dreamed about him.
Yeah.
But, damn. He needs help. He needs a big hug.
He needs something. But what came up in this book was something I totally forgot. I'm like, when did he and Mercy get reconnected again? In the way that we just got finished talking about in book 4, that the bond was broken. But now they're bonded again. And I cannot for the life of me remember what book they got rebonded in.
I don't remember what book it was, but it was obviously to save her life, and it hasn't been broken yet.
Yeah, and it was two-way. She accepted it. Whatever the situation was, it was, not forced on her. I'm like, why can't I remember? Because I'm reading that, I'm like, oh snap, they're stuck together again.
Again? We just read how they broke up.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I just have the book 4 bonding stuck in my head. I can't remember the others.
Yeah.
Or the next time.
Yeah. There's also still Tilly, who is Underhill, right? Underhill calls her him itself Tilly and presents as a little girl when it wants to. So I think maybe when Z's thing comes up, maybe Underhill will come up again because, of course, she probably
definitely.
Underhill feels a way that she didn't get the sickle, right? She asked for it and didn't get it. So that last scene. Or one of the last scenes, I don't remember if it's exactly the last, it is because, Wolf is out there playing the violin and he brought Steph in to kind of see Mercy and she's out there listening and then she leaves and she doesn't look at Mercy at all. I'm like, oh shit, no, she's mad. She's mad. She didn't even bother looking at you, acknowledging you, and she just leaves.
Yep.
And then it should be noted something different happened in that scene that Mercy noted. She could hear the door opening to the Underhill, and she could hear animals and things in there, and she heard it closed. And she said, usually you can't hear anything.
So does that mean Mercy has new magical powers after bonding with the sickle, or is it Tilly wanting her to hear it?
I don't know.
Or is it something else?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because she also picked up another ability after, but once the sickle was destroyed, it went away. When she looked in the eyes of whoever she was looking at, she could
see their soul,
see their whole soul visually. Like she could see with her. It's wild. Like she didn't even want to look certain people in the face because she didn't want to see. So it's like, wow.
I mean, that's a crazy thing to do. And then we found out Adam tried LSD a couple times. I don't know why that made me giggle so much, but I just had to put the book down and laugh.
Mr. Straight-Laced tried drugs? What?
Not just drugs, but specifically LSD.
Yeah. Actually, I would be the one person, and I might regret it later, but I'd be the one person trying to look everybody in the face that I'm close to see what the hell's going on. I would look my spouse in the face. I want to know. Yeah. Because if you crazy in there, I want to know now. But
yes,
she's trying to respect people's privacy. That's nice.
Good for Mercy. Good for Mercy.
I'm like, look at me. Everybody look at me. I'm going to stand in this line. I'll look at all of you in the face.
Yes.
So yeah, there was a lot of good things introduced and some other things that could turn up again later. And yeah, I mean, and the best thing about this, honestly, and I stand by this, because, before I thought I had to reread the last 2 chapters or so of the last book to remind myself. I didn't do that. I ended up listening to our podcast about it, which did help.
Smart.
Although, because we don't do plot line by plot line in chronological order. We kind of just talk all over the place. So as I was listening, my mind just slowly started remembering, oh yeah. But that is something that Mercy is good at, is refreshing us, because I didn't even need to do that. I didn't need to reread. I didn't need to listen to that podcast, because the first 30% of the book was heavy on little reminders of different situations that accumulate to what's happening now. So,
oh yeah, no, she reminds you everything. And again, there are even details like Daniel's ghost. She was like, oh yeah, he got eaten many years ago or whatever it was. And I was like, we just read Bloodbound, so I remember that.
Yes.
In much clearer detail. But yeah, no, she describes everything. Except for how she and Stefan bonded this second time.
She left that out. I'm like, you put everything else in there, but this.
But the one thing we wanted.
Because I'm like, oh, come on, why? Because I could not remember at all. I still can't. So I'm curious to see when we go back and read what book that happens. I'll probably take note of it now this time around, just because of this book.
Yeah. Yeah. It is important. They are connected.
Yes, they are indeed. All right. So what else should we cover? Anything else, or should we go ahead and rate the book? Because we need to rate it since this is time number 1 reading it.
Yeah, let's go ahead and rate it.
Okay. Do you want to go first, or shall I?
I'll go first. I'm giving it 4 stars. I really enjoyed this book. It was a Mercy book. It was a solid Mercy book. Yes, there were some issues. It wasn't the greatest Mercy book, but I still really enjoyed it. And I will reread it again when the time comes to reread the series and freshen up for the next stuff. And I am so excited to see what's happening next. Yes, I want her to take on the vampires. Yes, I want her to take on the Fae. I want all of the things. I'm fully invested in this series. I will follow it to the very end. So, yeah, 4 stars for me.
I concur with your rating. It's a 4. Probably not the strongest 4, but it's a 4. I enjoyed it overall, and I'm invested. I'm invested in this series. There's no way I'm going to stop. You can't. After reading 13 books and several books 2 or 3 times, there's no way I'm going to stop at this point. And I feel like even though this might not have been a 5, the next one could be.
Absolutely, yeah.
So, and I think that's kind of how all the diehards are. If you are listening to this podcast,
you're a diehard.
You're
Mercy
a diehard
fan.
Because there's no way you haven't read a single one of these books and you're listening to us talk about book 13. So Yeah, it's not on the highest of the books in the series, but it's still a solid installment.
Yes. I love it.
Yeah. All right, so we are going to end things there, and I think that's all we have for today. Do we have anything else to share on this?
Do you want to do a quick shout out for an admin position?
Oh, yes. Let's do our housekeeping. You guys, we are looking for 1 to 3 admins to help us. We're actually looking for moderators for our social media outlets. And so for that, we're talking about our groups, our Facebook group, Shelf Addiction Official, our book clubs app group, Shelf Addiction, and our server on Discord. So 1 or 2 or maybe even 3 of you. That would be awesome if we could get a couple of volunteers to help us grow and strengthen these groups.
Yes. If you love us, if you love this podcast, if you love talking about books all day and want to talk about books with other nerdy, bookish people, please come join us. Come help us moderate. Come help us, keep the conversation going day in and day out with all of our book club discussions, with the daily just bookish memes, whatever you want to post. Like we'll have a good time.
Yeah, we'll have a good time. And because we'd love to have more people on the Shelf Addiction team, and we are making changes to how we're going to do the book club. So get excited, y'all. We're about to do some book club discussions throughout the month on Discord. So it's no longer just a in-your-face once-a-month type of thing. So if that's not your thing, you can always find us here on the podcast as always, but you can also chat with other readers that also enjoy this podcast and also enjoy the same type of books that we all enjoy. So, as a moderator, you get to be at the helm of all of that.
Yes.
And be in the know. Yes. So do reach out to me. You can find me in the Facebook group. You can message me there or in the book clubs app. Or I guess if you're on the Discord, you can message me there as well. Or you can just send me an email at info@shelfaddiction.com. Reach out to me. Let me know that you want to be a moderator and why you want to do it. And we can talk. We can figure some stuff out and get going. Yes. I'm excited. I'm excited for that. So I hope to hear from a few of you. And I think that's it for today.
I think so. Yeah.
Yes. So we are going to end things there. We will see you guys in the next episode. And until then, take care of yourselves. Bye, guys.
Bye, everybody.
If you enjoyed today's episode and would like to show your support, there are a few things you can do. Head on over to Apple Podcasts and leave a positive 5-star review, or like this episode on your favorite podcast player. It seems so simple, but it really helps me out. You can share this podcast with other book nerd friends or on your favorite social media space. You can also join the Shelf Addiction Patreon family. For as little as $2 a month, you will help us produce even more awesome content for your ears. You can also consider joining the Shelf Addiction Official Facebook group, where we talk all things bookish and more in a safe space. The Shelf Addiction podcast is a part of the Nerdy Maven Network. You can also reach us via email at info@shelfaddiction.com. Thank you for listening.